Hello, mermaids and mystics and everyone else. Welcome to my channel. I am Meredith the Sea Witch, and today I'm doing an oracle reading for this upcoming full moon on March 3rd. It's not only a full moon, but a total lunar eclipse or blood moon. And this is actually the last total lunar eclipse that we're going to have until the end of 2028. So this should be a very interesting and potent moon. And I thought we would use my own original oracle deck that my husband and I created together and is actually being published next year by US Game Systems. It's called Mystic Waters, an oracle of the divine feminine, and of course is very watery in its theme. There is a video that I did where I show all the cards and discuss all their meanings. That is linked below if you're interested. Now, that being said, let's see what this very powerful full moon has to say. All right, so here's the deck, and this is just a little mock-up that I had personally printed. The published deck is going to look different. The back design is completely different. The cards themselves will be wider, and the names of the cards will be on them. But this gives you a great idea. Hopefully this will still be fun to see and get readings from, in the meantime, until it is actually published, and you can hopefully get your own copy. Now, the spread that we're doing is called the Tides spread, which is perfect for this moon, well, for any moon really. So let's go ahead and shuffle these cards, get our message. What is the message? What is the energy of this full moon, this eclipse, for the collective? And hopefully this message may or may not necessarily apply to you or your life, but we shall see. Right. Now in the first position, we have the incoming tide, which is what has been building during the waxing moon. In the center is high tide, where it peaks and what is demanding attention. And finally is ebb tide, which is what is draining away or clearing out with the waning moon. So first we have, mist. Interesting. Now, the key phrase for mist is find your way through the fog of uncertainty. The key words here are mystery, obscurity, concealment, uncertainty, transition, and the trickster. Let's get a better look at this. Now, mist and mystery, they go so well together. There is much more to it, though, than just atmosphere. Mist obscures our vision and suggests uncertainty. This uncertainty extends beyond our literal vision, representing the mist that shrouds our inner vision. Mist especially signifies the uncertainty that precedes transition, a reminder that change is always shrouded in mystery. And you can hear my kitty, sorry about that, he's having a day. Like a trickster, mist both conceals and reveals, kind of playing a game of hide and seek with our perceptions. It represents the unknown, the unseen, forcing us to navigate the treacherous terrain of our own minds, which can often be our own worst enemies. So this is where the intuition inherent to mist comes in. Sometimes we simply cannot rely on any of our five senses, and it is our inner eye that must pierce the fog. Now, when mist appears, it signals that you are entering a period of uncertainty and transition. It may indicate a mystery, a factor unknown in your current situation, and that the outcome is unclear. The mist represents the unknown factors that are at play and that trickster energy that can either guide or mislead us. It advises us to proceed with caution and to trust our intuition and to be prepared for unexpected twists and turns, and reminding us that transformation is an ongoing process, not a destination, and that the unknown is always a part of the journey. Now, here are some questions for reflection. Where in my life do I feel lost or disoriented? And what small steps can I take to regain clarity? What practices help me tune into my intuition when logical reasoning falls short? Is there something in my life that feels unclear or deceptive? And how can I uncover the truth? let's go ahead. We'll get back to that, but let's see what we have next. We have spring. Not the season, but of course, a watery spring in the ground. And the key phrase here is well up and flow with vitality. From the earth's heart, nurturing waters sustain and renew. And here are the key words. They are renewal, source, clarity, emergence, abundance, and healing. Now, a spring represents the emergence of fresh, clean water from the ground, often symbolizing a sense of renewal and purity. It is the source of life, where new beginnings can take place. In readings, the spring card can indicate a time of cleansing and starting over, starting something new. It suggests that just as a spring refreshes the land, you can also refresh your life, your mind, or your spirit. So embracing this can help you let go of impurities, whether they be physical, emotional, or spiritual, and welcome a clean slate. The emergence of water from underground to the surface in a spring symbolizes the revelation of hidden truths or insights. It's kind of interesting that we have a reference to things that are hidden when we had the mist card, which also speaks of uncertainty and things that are not clear. So this card, spring, can suggest that something previously obscured will come to light, offering clarity and understanding. It may be time to explore beneath the surface of a situation or simply your own subconscious to discover what's been hidden. Now, the clarity brought by spring, the spring, can illuminate your path and provide a clear vision for your future actions. Now, springs are often sites of healing, with many cultures believing in the medicinal properties of spring water. So this card can signify a period of healing and restoration. Whether you're recovering from a physical ailment, emotional turmoil, or spiritual depletion, the spring card suggests that rejuvenation is at hand. Additionally, it can represent abundance, reminding you that the universe and the earth, they do provide plentifully, and we can draw from this abundance to heal and grow. Now, some questions for reflection, and let's get a better look at this lovely card. A little blurry. Oops, there we go. Now, what areas of my life feel stagnant and in need of renewal? What rituals or practices help me cleanse and refresh my energy? What are the core beliefs, values, or sources of energy that sustain me? All right, now next, the ebb tide is being released with the waning moon. Interestingly, the tide card. That's kind of funny. Now, the key phrase for tide is flow with the natural rhythms. Life's cycles bring both ebb and flow. The keywords here are patience, time, flux, adaptation, rhythm, and cycles. So obviously tide represents these eternal cycles, the cycles of life, reminding us that everything is in a state of constant flux. Just as the tides ebb and flow, so do our experiences, our emotions, and circumstances. Let's go ahead and get a better look at this one as well. Patiently waiting for the tide to change. So this card also symbolizes time and the power of patience. The tide takes time to move in and out like a breath. Tide reflects the passing and measuring of time. So this could indicate a matter that is time sensitive, or that this is the time to take certain actions. Furthermore, the tide card can represent synchronicity and the interconnectedness of all things. The tide moving in and out is constantly creating new habitats and landscapes in the tide pools, which are never the same with each tide. And just as tides are influenced by the moon, we are also connected to the world around us and also influenced by that world and influenced by the moon itself in very similar ways. After all, we contain a lot of water. Water responds to the moon, and the phase is either always pulling or pushing on the watery emotions in us. So this card may be guiding you to pay attention to the subtle influences and rhythms in your life, to honor the natural world and find harmony within all the ebbs and flows of existence. Now, some questions for reflection. When was the last time I felt a significant ebb or flow in my life, and how did I respond to it? What lessons can I learn from embracing the cyclical nature of life, where some things come in and others fade out? Are there any patterns in my life that I need to acknowledge or break in order to move forward? Now, looking at all this together, on the whole, for this full moon and eclipse, let's see how all three of them read together as a single story for this full moon, with the oncoming tide, with mist. What has been building is a foggy, liminal pressure, kind of a sense that something is shifting, but you can't fully see it yet, because the mist, of course, like we said, shows uncertainty, concealment, and transition, with that trickster quality of concealing and revealing at the same time. So the advice here is basically don't force certainty, but navigate by intuition and stay alert for unexpected twists. Now, this is perfect eclipse weather. The sky event mirrors the inner one. As the moon is being eclipsed, so vision is being obscured. If you have been feeling disoriented lately, that's not necessarily failure, that's a threshold. And with spring in the high tide position, at the peak comes the welling up. So this makes sense. This is interesting that spring, the one that is the welling up, is at the peak with the full moon. It is clarity, renewal, and truth surfacing. Spring is the clean emergence of fresh water from underground, so that what was hidden in mist does not stay hidden. Spring is cleansing, new beginnings, revelations, so something previously obscured will likely come to light with this full moon. So let the truth rise. This, a plan that suddenly feels obvious, or a healing step that is ready now because the source has opened. And finally, with ebb tide, what drains away isn't water so much as resistance to rhythm, the rhythm that is reflected by the tide card. It is the urge to clutch, rush, or demand linear certainty. But tide is about cycles, flux, timing, and patience, and adaptation. It reminds you that the moon literally pulls and pushes on water and your emotions. So it calls attention to synchronicities and subtle influences. So after the peak, you don't have to chase the wave. The ebb says integrate, let the excess recede, and allow the next phase to reveal itself in its own time. So with mist, spring, and tide, it kind of reads like you have been moving through uncertainty for a reason. This eclipse brings a brief obscuring, but then a clean breakthrough. Afterward, you can release the need to control the tempo and let life return to its natural rhythm. Now, an eclipse it's interesting. It's kind of a cosmic enactment of mist. The familiar light is temporarily altered. Perception gets weird, the unconscious gets louder, but the spread is saying that the point of that weirdness is the spring, the moment of truth emerging from below the surface. And honestly, I gotta say, even though this is spring as in the water feature, I think it's interesting that we're now coming into the season of spring, and a lot of the messages and energies are very similar. And then tide comes in to close it with the wisdom that once you've received what rises, don't overwork it, but let the waters settle into the next cycle. So some simple ways to work with this magically are to ask, what am I not seeing yet? And then scry with water without demanding an answer. So for spring, write one sentence, write the truth that's surfacing is, and keep it clean and specific. And then for tide, choose one thing to stop pushing. Let it drain away for the waning phase. Trust timing, watch synchronicities, and let the next steps arrive naturally. Now, I hope that was interesting and insightful. Do let us know in the comments if you feel like any of this resonated, if you feel like any of this might apply to you or your life. And otherwise, just let us know if there's anything cool or fun or magical that you're doing for this full moon. This is such a potent and powerful one, so don't let it go to waste. Thanks so much for joining me for this reading today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time.